I saw a statue move underwater. I am a commercial diver. Not fancy. I do surveys and checks. Boats, piers, junk fields. I get paid to count things and keep my head. This job was a reef with human-sized statues and broken wreckage. The client said tourist spot, then storms, then something else smashed into it. Insurance wanted a map. I took it because the boat was local and the pay was clean. Calm water. Easy depth. That is what they said. We tied up to a buoy. Green water. Light chop. I checked my full face mask. Checked the radio. Checked the slate and the reel. Air was good. Weight pockets clicked in. I felt normal. I had a spare clipped under my left arm. Small bailout. Rental tank on my back. I told myself it was just another day. Comms check, I said. Loud, Louis said from the boat. Board is green. Keep it short. We got chatter on the harbor channel. Copy. I swung around and stepped in. The first cold hit and then the quiet. The kind of quiet with space in it. I dropped through pale water and the bottom came up slow. Sand, coral, chunks of plate. Then the statues. Shoulder to shoulder, all sizes, all faces. Some half buried. Some knocked over. Bubbles from my reg hit some of the mouths and stuck there. Little glass beads. It made me laugh in my mask, then I stopped. It felt wrong to laugh. My depth gauge flickered and then settled. My heartbeat jumped. I tapped the face. The needle stuttered like a bad signal. Then it steadied. I told myself it was fine. Old computer. Salt. I set the reel line on a chunk of rebar and clipped it off. I did a slow turn. I heard it then. A ping. Not loud. Not sharp. A rolling thing. It came through my ribs. One ping. Then the echo. It bounced in the water and slid off the reef. I looked around for a boat. The surface was bright and far. I saw nothing. Luis, you got a vessel on AIS? I said. Negative. You okay? Yeah. Just heard. Never mind. Starting grid. I started my row. Slate out. Markers in my head. Statue with both hands at the sides. Statue with a broken knee. Kelp over a face with a hole in the forehead. I put a glove on a shoulder to pivot and felt it shudder under me. I pulled back fast. My light shook in my hand. I waited. Nothing moved. My breath echoed in my mask. I pressed the shoulder again. It felt like a lever that had just returned. Hard to explain. Not a statue sliding. More like the whole thing had given and then set. Luis? Still loud. Why are you breathing so fast? Statue shifted. Might be loose. Copy. Watch your footing. I told myself it had settled. Heavy stuff on bad sand. Silt burped up around my ankles. I moved to the next row. The ping came again. Same deep roll. It made the back of my throat buzz. Then radio hiss. A little static. It scratched my ear and then went clean. I shook my head and kept going. I was moving between two lines of statues when something yanked my fin. No warning. Just a hard pull from behind. My legs snapped straight and I spun. My light cut brown water and silt. I couldn't see my fin. The tug came again. Stronger. I kicked with the other foot and felt the fin strap bite my heel. The reel line pulled left and snagged on stone. I cursed. I tried to twist and reach, but my tank bumped a head and my mask banged a chin. The tug came again. I felt it in my hip. I dropped a weight pocket. It slid out and thumped my thigh and fell. I grabbed the nearest statue arm and shoved. The suit went light on one side and I kicked hard. The fin tore loose from whatever had it and snapped back. I spun again and slammed into a chest. My light showed only silt and bubbles. The ping hit and the cloud shimmered. I kissed the regulator mouthpiece and counted 3 breaths. I grabbed the fin strap and checked it. The rubber was fine. No cuts. I didn't look behind the statue. I didn't want to. I clipped the empty weight pocket back in, out of habit. It was gone. I adjusted what I had left and dumped gas to hold depth. "Wait, dump?" Louise said. I lost one. Something grabbed. Something snagged. It's fine. Do you want to abort? Negative. I got it. Starting again. I should have gone up. But I knew this job wanted a map. I get judged by deliverables, not feelings. That's what I told myself. I moved slower. I kept the real line high and tight. I marked the big pieces and the gaps. I found a spar or a mast or a pipe. I found a hatch cover. I found plate bent like a book. Then I saw the shape. At first, it was a hill in the sand, long and smooth, with sea fans on it. I kicked over it and saw the curve keep going and then end. The end had a round edge like a cap. Part of it was exposed. The rest buried. I ran my hand over it. I felt seams. I felt rivets. I saw a number. Paint long gone. But you could tell it had been a submarine. Not one of ours. Not modern. The curve was too plain. The ping came and ran through it. It made the metal hum like a throat would. It went into my bones. Yaga. I put my ear to it by habit. I heard nothing except the memory of that ping. I knocked on it with my knife handle. 3 taps. Old habit. Then I felt stupid. I heard 3 knocks back. My stomach flipped. I slid back without knowing I was doing it. Sand puffed up around me. I looked at my light. I looked at the metal. I did not breathe for a second. Then I breathed too much. "Luis," I said. "Say it again." Got knocks. "Fishing boat? Hammer on deck?" "No, under me." My voice went thin. "Inside." Radio hiss flooded me. It was soft, like rain. Then it was gone. "You're breaking up," Louise said. I lifted the knife and tapped again. Once. Twice. Once. A pattern I learned from a welder. I waited. The ping came and then the answer knocks, closer to my head. Once. Twice. Once. Same. The sand next to my arm boiled. Silt rose up in a slow wall. I backed up, but there was nowhere to go. The statues boxed me in. I put a hand out. It hit a face. The reef turned into smoke. I turned my light off because it was just backscatter. The ping hit again. More silt. My computer said I was at 11 feet. Then 80. Then 12. It ticked like a broken clock. I saw them because of the ping. It lit them for a blink. Then they were gone. Like if lightning had a rhythm. They were shapes. Uniforms without bodies until the sound hit. Then there they were for a beat. Faces with caps and masks. Eyes gray. Jaws locked shut. Not men now. Outlines in silt. They moved like they had joints, and then not. Between pings, I only felt them in the water. Cold spots near my arms. The ping hit again, and one was inches from my mask. I jerked back and yanked the reg. Then a hand grabbed the reg from the side and pulled it off my mouth. I bit and missed. The mouthpiece tore my lip. The cold in that hand was metal cold, not skin. The clamp of it bit into the silicone. I saw the glove only when the ping hit. Fabric, not rubber. Old weave. A badge on the sleeve flickered and then was gone. I grabbed the hose under my chin and pulled it back to me. I slammed it in my mouth and purged hard. Salt water burned my throat. I coughed into the mask. My chest was a drum. I swung the knife forward and hit nothing. The ping came and he was behind my left shoulder. He reached for the strap. I cut across the space and felt contact. The blade kissed something hard and threw my wrist sideways. Not bone. Something like a tool. I kicked and dove low and slid under a fallen plate. I put the plate between me and the sub. I curled into the statue field. The silt tasted like copper. My dental guard clicked. I let my legs float and listened. The knock came on the plate above my head. Once. Twice. Once. I held my breath and thought, stop it, stop it, stop it. I do that sometimes. Say it in my head like that. Like if a thought can change a thing. The radio came back. Your depth just went to 200 on my end. Say status. Computer is fried, I whispered. I have contact. Not human. Not fish. I need a minute. Abort. Negative. Let me get a heading on the hull. Don't be stupid. Not. I need to move to clear water. Silence. Then 2 minutes. I counted slowly and moved. The silt thinned. I slid between kneeling figures. Bubbles were still stuck in some mouths from my purge. They looked like they were trying to breathe. I hated that. I knocked them out with a glove as I passed. I eased up to the curve of the sub again. I kept my shoulder against it. The cold through the suit made my arm ache. The ping hit and my teeth rattled. I flinched and then saw more of them. A row of floats for a second, then dark, then the row behind that. I told myself to get a tail line around something and leave. That was it. One more look for the hatch and then up. I slid my hand along the curve. I felt a lip and a hinge. I found the hatch by touch. It was open a crack. Sand and shell had wedged it. Something had worked it up from inside. That is what it felt like. I tried not to think that. A knock came from my right, not the hull. It came from a statue, like a finger on stone. Once. Twice. Once. I looked at its eyes. A fish popped out through the cheek and fled. The radio hissed again, and then I heard a whisper that was not a word, not a voice. Just that hiss shaped like a breath. I did not answer. I put my palm on the hatch lip and pushed. The sand fought me. It would not move much. An inch, maybe. Enough for a hand. The ping rolled again. The silt lifted again. I backed off and my fin caught on something. The tug this time was in the small hose at my shoulder. A sharp jerk and then bubbles bloomed up past my ear. Not little ones. A hard rush. My low-pressure inflator hose had a nick. I knew that sound. The hiss got into the radio too. I thumbed the dump and tried to hold trim. The suit felt sticky with tiny streams zipping under the fabric. I rolled and looked. A gloved hand had hold of the inflator. A knife blade in the other hand. Short blade. Square tip. When the ping hit, I saw the nick in the hose and the edge of steel. When the ping passed, there was just the sound and the hiss. I grabbed the bailout with my left hand. I bit the reg and opened it. I felt the new air hit my lungs. Different taste. Dry. I shut the main tank valve out of habit. The roar slowed. I thumbed the OPV on the shoulder to bleed what was left. The hand still held the hose for a second and then let go when the ping hit and they shifted. They were not steady. They were here, then not. I slashed at the space by my shoulder in the ping flash. The blade hit something. It rang, like hitting a pipe. The vibration went down into my bones. My wrist burned. I let the knife drop on the lanyard and it bounced off my chest. My glove came away with a cut in it. A thin line on my palm stung. I watched a ribbon of red spread and then vanish as the water took it. I kicked free and slid down the curve of the hull. I hid behind a statue with both arms up like it was holding something. The bubbles from my sliced hose climbed into its open mouth and hung there. A string of them. My own air looking back at me. I wanted to laugh again and instead I said, "Stop," into the mask like an idiot. I heard more knocks. Not just one place now. Plate, pipe, stone, around me. It was not random. It was to my left and then my right. It was ahead and then back. They were walking me. I felt that, the way you feel a current. Not see. Just know. Luis. Still here. Your vitals are bouncing. Come up now. They're knocking me into a hole. Who? Crew. Don't argue. Just keep the line ready. I'm setting a strobe, he said. His voice was sharp now, not calm. You come up on me. Now. I tried. I turned away from the sub and the knocks came fast on the far side. They came like, no, not like anything. I can't say that. They came and I turned, because that is what a brain does when something is on both sides. You try to go where it is quiet. They knew that. It is simple. It is a heard thing. They were clearer now. Sleeves, caps, salt stains across chests. One had a tag on his breast. A rectangle with a name, but the letters were mud. Their mouths were all shut. Their eyes were all wrong. Not white. Not black. Flat. Not focused on me. Focused on somewhere past me. I backed into the statue field again and sideswiped one. It toppled and the arm snapped off and drifted. I grabbed that arm without thinking and held it like a bar. It was heavy and cold. My forearms shook. I kicked, and the arm banged my knee. I wanted to drop it, but I kept holding it. I did not know why, but it felt like a tool, and I wanted a tool. The knocks got close. Right at my head. Then, under my boots. The silt ran thick again. I lost my own hands in it. I could only see on the pings. The depth gauge said 25. Then 60. Then a dash. Then it turned off and came back and scrolled. I could hear it beeping inside the housing. Not loud. It sounded stupid and small. I tried to go up. I followed my reel. It was tight and it vibrated. Something had it. I pulled. It pulled back. I cut the reel line. It snapped and curled and vanished into the silt. I felt naked then. No line. No path. Just the sound. This was the third time I thought, this is it. The pull on the fin. The hand on the reg. The cut hose. That should have been the end. Each time I thought, this is the worst it will get. I was wrong each time. They stopped knocking like that and started a new pattern. Tap tap. Pause. Tap. Tap tap. It felt like a hallway in sound. It angled me right to the hatch. It was open enough now that the silt poured into it and out of it. The crack tugged at my fingers when I got near. The water had a pull there. Not strong, just rude. Enough to steer. I held the statue arm and jammed it into the hatch crack like a pry bar. It bit. The rubber on my glove squealed against old paint. The hatch moved a hair. I shoved harder. The arm wedged crosswise. It stuck. It felt solid. Something cold touched the back of my neck. Metal on skin. I yelled. It filled the mask and made my ears ring. The ping hit and he was right there, chin almost touching my valve. He had a hook in his fist. I saw it for that blink. A boarding hook, maybe. I could be wrong. Between pings, I felt the hook drag across my tank and catch the webbing. He pulled. It didn't matter how. I was going in if I didn't move. I shoved the arm deeper until my wrists were past the hatch lip. The sand bit my knuckles. I kicked the edge and scraped my shin and bled into the suit. I popped the thing another inch. The hatch jammed on the crooked statue hand and stopped. Something hit the other side of the hatch then. Not a knock. A slam. It made the arm rattle and the metal sang for a long time. I felt the song in my jaw. I let go and I ran. That is what it felt like. Running, but slow and up. I dumped the suit and dumped the wing and kicked past the statues. I did not look back. The knocks went fast and silly behind me. The ping went longer, or maybe I just heard it like that. It rolled through me and the water did that trick where up and down go away. I swam on bubbles. That is what we say. I looked at the bubbles and went after them. They were everywhere. I couldn't tell which ones were mine. Some were stuck in mouths. Some were stuck in hands. I wanted to pull them all free and I didn't. Coming up, I said. My voice was wrong. Too high. Coming up now. Slow down, Louise said. You're gonna blow. No time. Stop. Listen to me. Stop. Can't, I said. They're hurting me. I jammed it. But I can't. I knew the rule, and I broke it. I breathed. I kicked. I watched my bubbles, and I should have leveled off. I didn't. The light got brighter fast. Pressure left my ears, and then came back as pain. I swallowed, and it didn't clear. I blew into my mask, and it got worse. I saw the boat bottom above me, and then it swung sideways. My arms went numb. The bailout reg felt like a rock in my mouth. I spit it. I don't know why. My hand went to the surface like it belonged to someone else. I hit the air and couldn't see. It was too white. Someone grabbed my straps and my armpits and hauled me over rubber. Hands on my shoulders. Hard. I dry heaved into my chest. Don't move, Louis said. He slapped the mask release and pulled it. He put the O2 on my face. It tasted sweet and wrong. I coughed and my chest seized, and then I got a breath that didn't hurt. I lay flat on the deck. The sky rocked. The engine shook the hull. I could feel the bolts through my spine. He kept a hand on my sternum. Not gentle. Just a weight to tell me I was here. What happened? He said. Saw a crew, I said. My voice came out thin. I waved a hand at the water and then hated that I did that. In the silt. When the ping hit, they grabbed. They cut my hose. There's no one down there. There is. There is. We didn't argue. He looked at my gear. He ran his fingers over the cut in the hose. He held his hand up. It shook. He looked at that and put his hand down. We went in. I sat on the stern and shook for a long time. The knock of the hull on the chop sounded like a code. I flinched every time. The sonar ping had gone. The water looked clean and flat and empty. I knew better. I slept like a drunk that night. Hard, then none. I woke up 3 times with salt in my throat. I dreamed bubbles stuck in stone mouths. I dreamed a hatch that never opened all the way. I woke to my own hands making fists. The ping came at 2 in the morning. 1. Then nothing. Then 1. It was the same roll from the reef. It was not on the street. It was not in the wall. It was in the room. I sat up slow. I thought I was still dreaming. Hey. I turned on the lamp. My little apartment was a mess like always. Mask on the chair. Bag on the floor. The rental tank leaned in the corner. The regulator hung over it. Water lay in a crescent under the bag where I had dropped it wet. I listened. Ping. It came from the bag. Then the echo, soft off the tile. I didn't want to touch it. I waited for the next one and stood. I flipped the flap and dug my hand in. I pulled out wet straps, a broken weight pocket, the knife, my slate, the cutoff reel. The ping came again. Clearer now. I put my ear to the gear like an idiot. The sound was not in the knife. It was not in the slate. I looked at the rental tank. It sat there. Standard aluminum, blue tape with a number. The valve was off. It should have been quiet. Ping. I walked over and put my hand on it. The metal felt cold like the hull had. My teeth hurt for no reason. I put my ear to it and heard the ring run down into my bones. 1. Then the echo. I opened the valve a quarter turn and bled a little air. It hissed. The ping did not stop. It didn't line up with the hiss. It kept its own time, slow and patient. I shut it. I took the regulator off and shook it. Nothing fell out. I put my hand under the tank. I expected to find a phone, a kid's toy, anything. It was bare. Just rubber feet and dust. Ping. Ping. I left the tank and went to the bag again and dumped it all out. Everything stank. The room went wet. My socks got soaked. I didn't care. I just wanted to separate every piece. The mask on the couch. The hose on the chair. The knife on the counter. I made a mess with care. I put my palm on each thing and waited. It was not those. Ping. It was still the tank. The timed beat, like it was traveling through the metal and hitting the air. Once. Then the echo off the walls and the glass. Always the same space between. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I sat with it. I put my hand on the cold aluminum and held it like it was the only thing left that made any sound. The knock patterns came back into my head and stayed there. Once. Twice. Once. Then the ping again. Then nothing. Then ping. I am not going back. I am not touching another statue. I am not knocking on any hull. I can still feel the hatch lip under my fingers. I can still feel that hook slide on my tank. I walk around my own rooms with my hand out like I'm in silt. I keep thinking the ping will stop. It hasn't. It's at that same slow pace. It comes even when I turn on the TV. It comes when I take a shower. It is faint when I leave the room, but it is there. The rental company called me twice about the gear. I have not picked up. I think they know I still have their tank. I think they can hear it through the phone. I can hear it through the wall when I go into the kitchen. I can feel it when I put my hand on my chest. Ping. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. It really helps the channel. And if you're not too scared yet, check out one of the other stories waiting for you. See you in the next one.